Welcome to the show, everybody. Joseph Robert Camo, the fantasy football counselor. Yes, I'm wearing my Concheapsis shirt, and you can get it at thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. It says stray away from the Concheapsis. That's what we're going to do here today. We're talking about must-draft running backs. Going to go over a list. There isn't a particular number. There's 5, 10, but you're going to actually have a little bit of a strategy when you are seeking and looking at those running backs. I'm going to give you a list of guys that I think are must-draft, must-own, must-have running backs going into 2021 fantasy football. Going to dive into all the details, and this video alone is going to give you a massive advantage over the competition this year, because if you know which running backs to draft, that's going to give you a significant advantage, and you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to draft them. Everything right here, right now. Must draft running backs, fantasy football 2021. Before we get into that, guys, manscaped.com. Check out this beautiful Lawnmower 4.0, brand new product. What it does, it has skin safe technology, right? So when you're shaving, it's not going to cut you if you're careful. You still got to be careful. It's a blade, but it's a lot safer than your typical buzzer, okay? Rechargeable wireless charging. You got LED spotlights. It's waterproof, travel lock. It's got everything you need, guys. Father's Day is around the corner. Manscaped.com. They got other amazing products, including the Lawnmower 3.0, Ultra Smooth Package. They got tons of cool stuff here for you. Head on over to manscaped.com. Use promo code SHOWERLINE. You guys are going to be very happy. I know a lot of people are DMing me saying, hey, check it out. I got my ball buzzer. That's awesome. I've got one too. You definitely, with things opening up, you want to stay groomed and safe. SHOWERLINE is the code, and you're going to save 20%. You're going to be very happy. Manscaped.com, SHOWERLINE, okay? Secondly, if you haven't got it yet, what are you waiting for? 16-round draft solution. First ever and only video training. It's going to help you guys crush your leagues. Get it here below or thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. Once you do, you're entered for a draw, guys, to be in the Listeners League. 12-person league, 1-point PPR. I'm hosting the league. You guys get to be in it. 12 people, draw, end of June. Super excited. Get 16 rounds, and you're automatically entered for that, okay? And finally, guys, it's very, very important. Smash the thumbs up. Hit the smash thumbs up button. It really helps the channel. And comment below. I'd love to hear. This is very important, guys, making it interactive. I'd love to hear which running back you must have. I'd like to know, so make sure you guys are engaged in the comments below, okay? All right, let's dive into this. Running back must-haves. Now, there's a big criteria when I'm drafting a running back, okay? I got to look at the situation. I got to look at the depth chart. I got to look at, the possible volume, the attempts, all that stuff, okay? So based on last year, just going to go over some last year's numbers here. Derrick Henry had 378 attempts, most than anybody. Dalvin Cook, 312, followed by Josh Jacobs, 273, David Montgomery, 247, Zeke Elliott, 244, which is weird because he's a 300 attempt kind of guy, and it goes down from there, okay? James Robinson, 240, and down. So I like to look at attempts. Now, we can't always go from last year because things change, and maybe their attempts are going to go up this year. So that's one thing I look at is the attempts. How much volume are they going to get? Another thing I look at is the value. So sometimes there's a lot of running back sleepers, which I'll do an episode on, and there's a lot of guys that I can get for really good value that could crack the top 10 or could really crush. So I've got a value guy here that I like this year that I can get for like literally free as my like RB4 as part of a robust RB strategy that I can get that could be the RB1. So I'm going to save that guy to the end, okay? So let's talk about some running back must-haves, keeping in mind that you want to avoid that committee. That's number one. So there's a couple rules here, right? And I explained this in 16 rounds. When I choose my optimal players, all of this is already implemented. That's why you got to get 16 rounds, because all the answers are there. So I make sure that there's minimal committee, okay? So I don't, like, for example, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, I stay away simply for the fact that Kareem Hunt is just as good as Nick Chubb, if not better. And he outscored, yes, injuries count. He outscored Nick Chubb 2 years in a row in PPR. That's very important to consider. So am I going to pay an early, where is Nick Chubb here? Early first or mid first round, late first round pick on Nick Chubb? No. What I know that Kareem Hunt is there. So I look at the depth chart, I look at the volume, I look at the situation, I look at everything, bird's eye view. I scope it all out, okay? So first guy I really like here, based on the research I'm doing, is Cam Akers. Now, we saw that the Rams did not invest an early draft pick on another running back. We saw, and McVay said, now I don't really believe what coaches say, to be honest with you. A lot of people believe what Kingsbury said with Kenny and Drake last year. Said, I don't trust him at all, because he told us David Johnson was a starter a couple years ago. Then he said Kenny and Drake. Now he's saying Chase Edmonds. I don't believe anything that the Arizona Cardinals say. That's an example. But McVay, the Rams, Cam Akers, currently sitting number 10th on the consensus rankings. This is a guy that I believe, in my heart of hearts, is primed for a workload. Now, why didn't he get the workload last year? Well, he came in as a rookie, and the thing is, he got injured. He got a rib injury, which was nagging, and it went throughout the season. But near the end of the season, boy, did we see a shine. Now, it was only about 3 to 4 weeks, but in those 4 weeks, we saw a volume increase. We saw him take the load and be the guy. And that's what I like to see. I like to see a window near the end of a season where these guys shine. We saw it in 2015, and I'm going way back here. David Johnson shining near the end of the season and crushing it in 2016. And I don't know which year it was. I think it was 2017 or 18. Where Derrick Henry, everybody didn't believe in Derrick Henry, but he shined near the end. I think it was a 2017 or 2018 season. He shined near the end of that season. The year after, he crushed it, okay? So that's something you got to consider. I'm just going to go back. What year was that? Derrick Henry, yeah, I think he started to shine at the end of 2017. I think it was. Let me just pull this up here. It's bothering me because I want to know. Damn it. Yeah, I think he started to shine in 2017, and 2018, I think he tore it up. Or was it 2018 he tore it up, and then 20... Either way, guys, you guys get what I'm saying here, okay? Yeah, he started tearing it up in 2018, and he tore it up in 2019, just so we got the facts right, okay? So that's what we want. That's what we want to see. We want to see near the end of the season that these guys are picking it up. And Derrick Henry in 2019 absolutely crushed it with 1,540 yards, 16 touchdowns in 2019 because he showed the signs in 2018. And that's what we're seeing with Cam Akers. Now, is Cam Akers the next Derrick Henry? That's a big question mark. Obviously, Derrick Henry is a specimen of very special talent, right? But he's showing us signs, and that's what you got to look for. Patterns, signs, hints, and opportunity, and Cam Akers is set. Now, I like Cam Akers at the end of the first round. I think that's pretty decent value, and I think he's going to keep rising up the depth chart. Now, people keep asking, and I got another guy, Jonathan Taylor here. Who do you like more? Let me get to that when I talk about Jonathan Taylor here, but let me get to that in a second, okay, when I get to Jonathan Taylor. So, Cam Akers, primed for a big season. I don't see any reason why this guy can't finish top 5. Like, I don't see any reason he's sitting at 10 right now. There is that much upside, okay? Because, again, they're looking for that Todd Gurley they had from a couple years ago. Maybe he's the guy. Apparently, people are saying, I don't know if I would call him an upgrade, but, years to wow us, we're not really wow. But Stafford could be safe and could be an upgrade from Goff. I kind of like that. Could be exciting. We don't know. But we know that Cam Akers is going to have that workload, and that's what we want to see. Now, if you look at the breakdown distribution last year, you can't really compare that because Darrell Henderson had 138 attempts. Malcolm Brown was there. It's all changed, right? Henderson's not. It's just, he's going to be the guy. Just believe me, he's going to be the guy. And late first round is a steal for this guy, okay? And you have to go robust RB strategy because if you don't go robust, you're not going to be covered. So make sure you cover yourself. Backup plan in case that first round pick get busts. We saw it last year. Saquon Barkley, CMC, all these guys, Michael Thomas, all these guys fall, first round picks. You feel comfortable, right? But then they fall, they get injured, things happen, right? That's why you got to go robust RB and secure the most scarce position on the roster. Another guy here that I must have, must draft, must own, fantasy football, must own running back for me is Naji Harris. Now, when I was looking at the consensus, the Concheapsis rankings, the Concheapsis, as you guys see, I'm wearing the Stray Away from the Concheapsis shirt. About, where are we now? We're at late May. So this was about early May, probably even in April. Naji was sitting 24th on the consensus rankings amongst running backs in PPR. Now currently sitting 15th. He is climbing up because the counselor is promoting him and pushing him, and a lot of people catching on. Why do I like Naji Harris so much? So many reasons. He just got paid a nice contract. I don't know what it was, $13 million, something like that. The Pittsburgh Steelers believe in him. They've been looking for a replacement for Bell, a guy that can get it done. Bell was never that good. He was a product of the O-line. Now you can say, the O-line isn't as good now. Yeah, but trust me, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. Big Ben knows how to handle that offense. They made some improvements. Najee Harris is arguably the best running back coming out of this 2021 draft here. I'm beyond excited for Najee Harris, a guy that can get it done in the receiving game, got paid, an early draft capital in him. He is primed for a workload, and they were looking for this guy. They thought Connor could be the guy. I didn't feel warm and fuzzy about Connor. Couldn't stay on the field. Naji Harris is the guy. Naji Harris will be on the field a lot. Naji Harris will get at least 250 attempts. Naji Harris will be involved in the passing game. I like him. And here's the deal, right? And I explained this in 16 rounds. You might have to draft him late first round. Even like, I could see this guy going high in the first round. Now, here's the deal. A lot of people got excited with the Clyde Edwards deal last year, right? Except for me. I'm like, I don't think the volume's going to be there. He's a rookie. The Chiefs, I don't trust them, right? Naji Harris is in a place where they've actually groomed top end running backs. The Steelers have. Same with the Rams. So you're looking at guys at teams and franchises where they groom running backs and they crave that workhorse running back. That's what's so appealing about Naji Harris and Cam Akers. They're in situations where they could really thrive. Now, in a dream scenario, if you can get Cam Akers, if you're drafting 10th overall, you get Cam Akers, you swing back around and get Naji Harris. If you do not, listen carefully, if you do not get Naji Harris at the end of the first round, early second, he's not coming back around. Even if you're in a 10-person league, I don't even see that happening. So Naji Harris, for me, is a running back must-have, okay? Going back to the earlier picks, first top 5 picks, for me, I got to go Saquon Barkley, simply because I totally believe in the fact that what goes up must come down, what is down must come up if you're talented. Now, we know that the Giants have made improvements on their O-line. We know they finally have receivers now. They've brought in Tony. They brought in, they drafted Tony. They got in Kenny Golladay. So the Giants are looking good. Now, let me take a look at their receiving core. Again, am I excited about Sterling Shepard? No. Kadarius Toney was a round 1 pick. I just wanted to confirm that. Darius Slayton, John Ross, not excited. But Golladay and Kadarius Toney could be exciting there. Open things up here for Saquon Barkley. It's all about Daniel Jones coming into his own. But you got to understand that Saquon Barkley was ripped off a season, right? Literally, he wanted to be the guy last year. Obviously, got sidelined due to injury. Now you're saying, well, Joe, injuries, right? Like, aren't you concerned? Not really. Like, Saquon's a durable, strong guy. His quads are the size of the universe. Like, I think it was a fluke injury. I know, the past couple seasons he hasn't been 100%, but I really feel this is the year. Like, he is due. This is a make or break. No pun intended with the injury. It's literally, if he gets injured, it would definitely break him, right? Make or break season for Saquon Barkley. So he has to perform. I think, again, that offense is finally up to speed. I think they've got the weapons they need to open things up and less stack boxes for Saquon Barkley. And again, if I'm drafting early, if you look at the other options, you got Dalvin Cook coming off 2 kind of pinnacle seasons. He's been paid. He's been incentivized. He's been run to the ground, 312 attempts last year, a guy that hasn't still finished a season. I've got other options. Check out my running backs to avoid episode. But again, I just see the upside there, and I'm going to be okay going robust RB. Now, the problem is if you're drafting earlier, you may go Saquon. You may not get Cam Akers and Naji Harris if you're drafting early on, unfortunately. And then you're going to be stuck with a bunch of other running backs. And this is why it's so important, running backs that are not in a committee, or they're in a committee, sorry. So this is why it's so important to try to load up on this position, because literally the first round, 12 picks, and mid-second round, you'll notice that a lot of the running backs are gone. The Jonathan Taylors, the Cam Akers, the Naji Harris, the Saquon Barkleys, the CMCs, the Derrick Henrys, the Alvin Kamaras. All these guys are going to be gone by the time you probably get to mid-second round. Then you're starting to look at guys that are a little more suspect, part of a committee, your Clyde Edwards and Lairs of the world, guys like that. You may start looking at guys like J.K. Dobbins, Antonio Gibsons of the world, DeAndre Swifts, Montgomerys, guys like that. So it gets really thin and trim. So that's what, for me, I kind of like drafting mid to late first round, so I'm able to probably combo Cam Akers and Naji Harris. You don't have to combo these guys. This is what I like to do. They could both bust, but at the end of the day, I'm still going to get a 3rd or 4th running back, so I'll be good. And I know which quarterbacks to draft and which wide receivers that are going to be huge sleepers and break out this year, and I explained that in 16 rounds as well. All right, so Saquon Barkley for me is a must-have early on. Next guy here, if I am looking at, there's 2 guys. Let's do a double whammy here. Again, it's not really a list. We're just kind of open talking here. 2 guys mid-first round that you may want to consider, and this is all a preference for you, is Jonathan Taylor and Zeke Elliott. And I know, Joe, these are must-haves. These are common sense guys you're stating. But yeah, the thing is, you got to have these guys because you got to get them early. So secure them. So Jonathan Taylor, right? You got to go Jonathan Taylor. I mean, Or see, here's the deal with Taylor or Zeke. Zeke is a little more safe, a little more durable. Like, the durable, I don't want to say more durable than Taylor, but he's been durable, knock on wood, for the past couple years. So when you're looking at Zeke, you've got kind of more that like secure guy, and Pollard's going to be a pest, but you kind of know what to expect. Zeke's the guy, and Pollard's going to come in kind of if Zeke is banged up or injured, that type of thing, if he's going to miss a game, or if they kind of want to lighten his load for that particular game. But you kind of know that Zeke is looking at a floor of around, last year I think was his worst year in regards to attempts. You're looking at a floor of 244 attempts. Now, that put him sixth amongst running backs in attempts last year. That's kind of your worst case scenario. So I think it's definitely going to go up from last year. I think it was an abysmal season. Dak getting hurt for the Cowboys. It was a bad season, and I think it can only go up. So if you want to feel a little more safe and secure mid first round, you could go Zeke. You could reach Cam Akers here. You could go Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor I'm okay with. I feel pretty good. 232 attempts, but he didn't really get in the full flow of season until mid to late season where he was starting to become that workhorse running back, right? When I pull up his numbers based on last year, we saw his attempts. I mean, he had 26 attempts. Where was this? Week 2. But then, they were safe. 13, 17, 12, 12, 12, 11, 6, 7. And then they started going up in week 11. 22 attempts, back down to 13, then 20 attempts. And then he ended the season off week 17 with 30 attempts. So, only 4 games over 20 attempts. It's a little concerning. Something to think about if you are looking at Taylor. He did only have 4 games over 20 attempts, but it was his rookie season. But the problem is Marlon Mack is coming back. So that might be an issue because think about it. Marlon Mack, I knew Taylor was going to be the starter, but we didn't know Marlon Mack was going to get hurt because Marlon Mack was technically slated as the starter last year. But I think now that Taylor's run with it and that he's proven himself, he's still going to be the guy. I still see Marlon Mack being a bit of a pest here, and that's kind of a thorn in my side when I am looking at Jonathan Taylor. Now, when you look at Zeke, I think Pollard could be less of a pest than Marlon Mack could be. So again, a little more upside with Taylor, assuming they don't give Marlon Mack as much volume as we may think he might get, and a little more safety and security with Zeke because we kind of know he's the guy. No way but up from last year in the 244 attempts, right? With Taylor, like we said, the volume might be an issue, right? Again, last year, 232 attempts. Zeke on a low year had 244 attempts. Something to consider in that mid-first round pick, okay? But both got to be must-draft, must-own, must-have fantasy football running backs for 2021, okay? Now, again, there's other running backs, but I don't must-have them. Late, I'll give you the sleeper that I got here, fantasy football running back sleeper, that I must have late because I get it for value after the 6th round, 7th round, is Javonte Williams. That's the guy I want to talk about here. Very important, guys. Javonte Williams, let's talk about him here. Out of college, looked great. Volume was there for him in college. Opportunity. We know for a fact, that Denver believes that I'm looking at it here. 2nd round pick. That's where he was drafted. Okay. 2nd round pick. Again, college in 2020, 157 attempts, over 1,000 yards, 19 touchdowns, and he gets it done in the receiving game. 25 receptions in 2020 in college out of North Carolina. Javonte Williams. He hits hard. He runs hard. And again, he can be a receiving back. And I keep talking about this in this video. You can get him for great value. I must have him based on his ADP. Here's the deal. Melvin Gordon, right? 200 plus attempts last year, 215 attempts, 986 yards, 9 touchdowns. Sorry, 9 touchdowns, not 19. And then we had Lindsey, who was, not as good. I don't think he's an undrafted guy. Williams is a higher caliber player, 2nd round pick compared to Lindsey. And Lindsey got 118 attempts last year, only playing 11 games. You got to look at clues. You got to play detective. Get your magnifying glass out. Javonte Williams, they're looking for that workhorse back. I remember Elway saying to Royce Freeman a couple years ago, hey man, we are looking for a workhorse running back. Freeman couldn't get it done, right? They are looking for that. Melvin Gordon, only 1,000-yard rushing season in his 6-7 year career. I'm not sold on Melvin Gordon being the solution. I don't care what Melvin Gordon says, saying he wants to make Denver his home and he believes he's going to do well. You've had years to wow us, Melvin. You haven't done it, Javonte Williams as a value, I can't pass up on this. I got to get him as my RB 4-5. immense value. To me, he's a must-have later, okay? And again, there's other guys that I can get for sleepers. Michael Carter, Trey Sermon now in a good situation with Wilson. But again, that's a whole other episode. I don't want to talk about it too much, okay? I did do a running back, I think a rookie sleeper episode. Go check that one out. Go back and make sure you guys are subscribed. So, running back must-haves. Again, there's other guys. Obviously, CMC, other guys kind of fill the criteria of guys that, you know, are in a minimal committee. I'm not going to go through everyone, but I gave you guys the information. Some people looking at DeAndre Swift. I'm like, Swift, I'm not sold on. Then Gurley went for a visit there yesterday, right? Like, you know, I see the upside with Swift, but the Lions don't produce top-end running backs, right? They brought in Williams. Like, you got to look at guys that are a minimal committee. So if you look at another guy, well, Joe, I kind of feel comfortable with Derrick Henry. Great. He's a must-have as well. You know, Dalvin Cook. But these are some, I didn't want to go through everyone, but you got to look at the committees, right? Minimal committee. Dalvin Cook's a must-have as well. I am concerned a little bit about injury. Alvin Kamara's a must-have, but I am concerned with Drew Brees being gone, coming off a pinnacle season that was inflated by one game where he had 56 points. Alvin Kamara, right? Must-have, sure, but watch out for declines. It's another thing, right? What goes up must come down. Be cautious of that as well, okay? Make sure you guys subscribe, smash thumbs up. Let me know which running back you must have this season. I gave you a bunch here today. Subscribe, leave a thumbs up, and get 16-round draft solution right now. Go right now. Stop the video, stop the audio, pull your car over, pull over thefantasyfootballcouncil.com, get 16 rounds. You'll be very happy. And I am out, guys. Thank you for being here. Looking forward to wide receiver must-haves coming out tomorrow. We'll talk soon.